Hello, America. It's time to check the nonsense at the door, clear the cobwebs between your ears, and have a rational-ish conversation. This is the lost art of common sense. That's right, America. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kevin.
This is the lost art of common sense. In today's episode, we're going to be decoding the rhetoric that we hear on TV. Does it really mean what they are saying it means? Or is there a double entendre, if that's a word? What do you think, Kevin? I mean, what's your overall idea on what's told versus what they're really saying? Do you think there's any double speak going on there?
Words don't have meanings anymore. They just say whatever they want, then put new meaning to any word. Or they just make up words for situations. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know what a recession is anymore because I don't know what, it's not what it is. It's something else now. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're going to go through a lot of these. It's the way that you can just change the meaning of words anymore is absolutely crazy. And the worst part is like the dictionary will follow up on it and just change it from what it was for the past 120 fucking years. It's stupid. There's a lot of words they say that sound good and don't mean exactly what you might think they mean. So we'll go through those. It's dumb.
It is dumb.
That's all I got. It's just dumb.
Well, yeah, it is dumb. I don't know. It's like, well, and that's why most people, at least I don't care if two gay people want to unify the relationship. One of the big problems people had with like marriage, like gay marriage is the defined word or the unity of a man and woman. And that was really the big gripe because they've always had this civil union, I think is what it gives you the same benefits of being married.
Yeah, I think it's a civil union.
But that was like the big gripe. It's like, well, as soon as you start changing the meaning of words and words have no meaning. I think I read that on a doily somewhere.
I remember I saw this. I think it was a reel about this gay dude. He's talking. He's like, yeah, remember when we were talking about how like everybody was saying like, you know, if they allow the gays to get married, all of a sudden it'll just lead to all this other crazy shit. And, you know, and he's like, and look where we're at. Maybe we shouldn't have got married.
Yeah, I think I saw Crowder interviewing some gay dude in Austin, and he was all blurred out, and they changed his voice. But there's a lot of people in the gay community that are like disgusted by the same shit we're all disgusted at.
Well, look what they're doing now. I mean, MAP, what is that? Or is that what it is? Minor attracted people.
Yeah, whoever came up with that term really needs to be smacked in the face.
Yeah, they're pedophiles and they should be shot and buried.
Pedophiles are the people that came up with MAP.
Well, both. If you're a pedophile sympathizer, you should also be shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to everybody that's
metaphorically, we're not calling for violence against anybody.
No, I am. Pedophiles should be beaten for the inch of their life.
Against pedophiles, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing that's changing with just the speak, how they keep changing. Well, I guess it's more pushing the line than changing. They're making up language for it, but they constantly keep pushing the line.
They've gone over a line, just keep making new lines and making other people. They're trying to push people to a new line, and you know, then you're the bad guy for saying, "Hey, no, you stepped over this line." So then you get called a bigot or a racist or sexist or one.
Well, and it might be an interesting episode, but then we'd have to research it, and I'm not sure I want to. But like, I would really like to. I don't get the whole drag queen thing going on right now. Like, there's another drag show at a church in Texas.
Listen, I don't care what you do in your private life, but I don't see you shouldn't like this. Drag queens were for bars and stuff like that, and they
If
had
you want to put on a drag show that for
do it. I don't
adults,
care. I
that's
just
fine.
don't.
It's when they
But
start drawing kids into the shit.
yeah, because it's not like they're always dressed super not flamboyant, but like skimpy flamboyant. Like
Well, you
just
saw
weird.
that
Like
one. He used to be a football player, and I think he was an announcer, but I think he's like on the Today Show or something now. They had an 8-year-old drag queen kid on that show and was dancing just like the drag queens do. And that dude is like, "You're doing wonderful. You're doing well. That you're fantastic." It's like, A, what the fuck, and B,
yeah.
that kid's parents should be in jail.
Oh, absolutely.
But okay, well, that was a little rant of just what's fucked
Not
up.
anything we're really talking about, really.
No, not really. I mean, it's the degradation of society, but we could make a whole episode about that. I just don't know if I want to research it.
No, I'm pretty sure that we go on for hours on that.
Yes. But the first word that has been thrown around now, they haven't really changed. They haven't changed the meaning of it, but they're throwing it around on people that I don't feel it belongs to be labeled on. And that magical word is insurrection.
Basically, they're using insurrection as a word to keep people in prison without due process.
Yeah, they're using it to sidestep the Constitution.
Yes. So I think the meaning is, if you're an insurrectionist, then you don't have to have like your rights get taken away in most sense. So they're using that word. They're not. I mean, it's also a political word, so they can, because it sounds scarier. But they're basically using it so they can sidestep the Constitution.
Yeah, I
Against
think
a
that's what's
political
behind it,
opponent,
too.
and let's be real, it's all a show. It's just something.
And I think because there was somebody from the January 6th, and I don't know what they did, probably nothing like most of them. But they were convicted, I think, today and could spend up to 24 years in prison.
Yeah,
I think all of these hearings should be held outside of Washington, D.C.
I think so too.
After that Clinton lawyer got found not guilty for colluding with the FBI, when I'm pretty sure he's on tape saying
he admitted to it in the courtroom.
Yeah. So all the jurors, which means pretty much all the people in Washington, D.C., are fucking idiots. And I don't know if they've tried and got turned down, but every single one of those courts or those cases should be held outside of district. I think you would get a fair trial in California, like
Oh,
in
absolutely.
L.A., than you would in Washington, D.C. That's just.
I don't know. Maybe it's my conspiracy theory heart, but I'm pretty sure you can plant jurors. Like I'm pretty sure.
I don't think you need to in Washington, D.C. They vote 98% Democrat.
Yeah, so it's just ridiculous how he got off. It's just I don't know, dumb.
Well, and now they're seeing. I know why they're using it, but like they throw the word radical around a lot. And for my idea, what I always thought was a radical is like, someone you could be like, because basically the MAGA movement is pro federalism, and
the MAGA movement is just conservatives that are tired of rhinos. That's how I perceive it.
Well, and it's pro America, America first,
yeah.
Like populace. Anything that's good for America, I'm like actually good for America.
Yeah.
I'm good with. But like when I think of a radical, I think of like these people that like the abortion radicals. Like I had 15 abortions and I loved them. It's like, well, you're horrible, and I'm not sure how you got pregnant.
Or on the other side, somebody firebombing a Planned Parenthood. That's a radical move. That's radical. Saying you love America and having a flag outside your house and wearing maybe like a red, white, and blue hat or a red hat. That's not radical. That's just being fucking patriotic. So patriotism is now the radical.
Yeah,
and somehow people
you would think that people would look outside the bubble and notice that too. It's like they're literally calling patriotism radical. And it is radical, but not in the sense they're using.
But somehow people who endorsing pedophiles is not radical.
No, that is not radical. That's a total bummer.
people endorsing child mutilation, not radical.
Yeah, there's a big turnaround on that thanks to Matt Walsh.
Yeah, so it's just radical doesn't mean these are like trigger words, and that's basically what we're going to go through is these trigger words.
Trigger words, trigger phrases.
It's something for idiots to latch onto. People who don't know shit about politics, people who don't study the one side or the other, that just get their news from MSNBC or little news clippings from the New York Times in their news feed or whatever. These are trigger words. Or yeah, these are just headline folks who are throwing these words around. I got an argument on Facebook about. Well, I'll just talk about that later. I want I mean, it wasn't really an argument. I just shut them down quick.
Will we be bringing it up in this episode?
I don't think so. I don't think maybe any of this really. Well, maybe the Inflation Reduction Act. I don't know. Now, basically, I'll just go through it real quick. Basically, it was the student loan thing. About 6 states are suing the Biden administration over the student loan grant or the student student loan forgiveness. And basically, this guy's like, well, it's not any different than the PPP loans. And I'm like, moron, the government shut down businesses. And so it was government forced. So that's why they gave them money, because they forced them not to do any commerce with anybody because, they were shut down. I'm like, student loan is an individual decision. You sign that piece of paper. You know the risk. You should pay it back. I'm like, you want the government to do anything, you tell them to cut the interest rate. That's it. They're not
Did you come up with that idea, or did you hear that from somewhere? Because that's a really good idea.
No, I came up with the idea.
That's a great idea, Kevin.
Just cut the interest rate. If they really cared about you, cut the interest rate down to 1%.
Or the 0%. I don't.
Yeah, or 0%. The government.
It's all fake money.
Yeah, the government doesn't. They control all the loan services, or have a hand in them, like a huge hand in them. If they don't own them outright, they pretty much have a huge hand in it. So it's just done.
Well, that actually does
buying votes.
Your story and the premise of it does buy into this episode, because when they're saying we're going to forgive this, we're going to forgive that, we're going to give you this, give you that, the government doesn't have anything. It only has what it gets from the taxpayer or prints out of thin air, which I've only done that 30 plus trillion times. But they're saying, they're like, no, you're not giving anything up. It's just like, you're not giving free tuition. Someone's paying for this shit. Like, these morons need to realize
it's student debt. It's student debt transferring. So instead of,
and yeah, you were right. That guy's comparison was stupid. It's like, that'd be like, if the government forced you to go to college, then you can make that comparison.
Well, then I also said, so you're going to bitch about. So he wanted to bitch about corporations and shit getting the PPP loans. I'm like, okay, so you want to bitch about these PPP loans, but I'm pretty sure it saved thousands of small businesses who are going against these corporations. So you're against corporations, but want small businesses to fail? I'm like, your argument doesn't make sense.
Most of them don't.
No, because they're morons. It's just fucking frustrating.
It is. So, yeah. So when I say MAG is radical, I say it's more like in a bodacious way. Radical, bodacious,
radical, man.
I still use all those words, and I'm bringing them all back. Tubular and bodacious.
Tubular. That was fucking awesome.
But they also throw away around the term semi-fascist, which I don't know how the hell you can be semi-fascist. But I mean, I know why they're using.
I've heard of semi-hard, but not semi-fascist.
Oh, that got inappropriate quick. Gross.
Ow.
No, but granted, that's a word that's but it's like a word that doesn't, because they're attaching it to people that you can't. If one of our 5 people that watch or listen to this show, if you could put it out in the comments what a fascist is, because if they're calling Republicans in the MAGA movement fascist or fascistic or whatever the hell that word is, I probably just made it up.
Fascistic? I don't know.
Fascistic. That could be it. That could be a word.
I don't fucking know, man.
Coin the phrase.
We could, but we just made up a new word, or
Possibly, or we totally didn't. It's either one or the other. Either we
Yeah.
did or we're dumb. Um, I'm going with the latter.
Could be
But like,
fascistable. I don't know.
so if someone could point out anything that they're doing on the right that mirrors fascism, I would love to see it.
Yes, because most fascists love their citizens having guns and promote having gun use. And, I mean, that's the big one. What fascist movement begins by arming their citizens against them?
Yeah, there's a
Maybe you should look who the fascists are by who wants to take away your fucking guns.
well, it's just not that. It's like what Republican is calling for censoring speech? I mean, hell, I mean, I brought it up in another episode about people trying to cancel left wingers on Parler. I was like, why? It's like this is supposed to be a free. I don't care if some far left jerk off is on Parler, Truth, Rumble, whatever. Cool. Add to the conversation. It's not hard to tell that you're an idiot.
Didn't you get an argument with somebody about when they tried to say that Trump tried to ban people or something? Or didn't you
I
get
got
an
an
argument?
argument with one of my friends, yeah,
Yeah.
where I was like, point out where Trump tried to ban anybody. Well, he tried to ban the press. No, he didn't. No, he said he tried to suppress the press.
No, he didn't.
It's like, how did he do that? Who called
He
it
called
fake
it
news?
fake, but I
It's
mean, they
like
were
that's
fake
not
news.
suppressing them. It's like they had higher ratings during Trump's presidency than ever before. So I'm not sure how that works. Where you have like obviously the mainstream legacy media literally parrots everything that comes out of the left. So when they say, "Hey, Trump supporters are semi-fascist," then every dude and girl on every episode or every station says the same shit all throughout the day. They might
Yeah.
change like one word.
I don't know what semi-fascist is, anyways. I don't know how you can be partially fascist.
Well, because I guarantee you they focus group all this shit.
Oh
And they
yeah,
probably
absolutely.
thought that calling them straight out fascists is too harsh. Where you could turn and look at what the left wants and what they're pushing for, and that is straight up fascism. Just because, and I got an argument with a guy up there, and I was like, look, you can take like 10 to 15 things that the left's doing right now and compare that as a parallel to the rise of fascism. What you can't do is do that on the right because there is no examples of it. If there is, point them out. I'll be more than happy to do it. Anytime I ask for links or sources or whatever, help me be intelligent like you are and tell me where you get your news. They never do it. So I don't know. So fascism, I mean, that's just,
If
I
Antifa
think
was,
it's,
if
huh?
Antifa stand for what Antifa is supposed to stand for, anti-fascism, then they should be a far fringe right group.
Yeah, the group that dresses in all black, covers their face, and destroys everything are the anti fascists.
Yeah.
But
So you
they,
gotta,
I don't know. That's a, that's a bullshit thing. They're just using it to, well, it's like that. It's so, I don't know. It's not corny. It's cliche. How when you hear the saying, whatever Democrat accuses you of, they're doing. But
it keeps turning out to be that way though.
yeah, that's exactly what they do.
We're,
So, what about, and I guess I have these kind of combined. So, we'll talk about the Inflation Reduction Act and transition.
transition.
Those two things, because that's been thrown around a lot, and they're combining transition with inflation. At least the clown that is the press secretary is saying that.
Oh, I know, and I don't know what a transition period is, other than maybe for transitioning to a global, like, currency. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's the only way, unless we're transitioning for the fall of the nation. I don't know. We're transitioning. I don't know how you can call a recession period a transition period. It just, I just don't know. I don't know what that means. They don't ever explain what they're transitioning to. I mean, were they transitioning to better or worse? I don't. And the
Well, do you
inflation.
think you could make the argument that if they're saying it's a transition and not a recession, that transition would kind
Well, it
of mean
sounds
that
better.
it's self inflicted too?
Well, yeah,
Like when you're
absolutely.
transitioning, you're doing something to
Yeah,
make the transition happen. So it's like, is this their back alley way of saying, yeah, we're doing this? We're doing it on purpose.
Maybe. So they're not technically lying to the public.
Did I
It
decode
could
the
be.
codex?
Maybe you did. Isn't that what we're doing?
Oh,
Decoding?
we're decoding.
I'm like Mr. Hacker here.
Opening the eyes.
Was that Mr. Robot? Was that what that was about? I don't know. I've never seen the show.
The only show I saw kind of like that, which is a great show, is Chuck.
I guess.
Did you ever watch that show?
Yeah, I watched the show, but I don't
It has
understand
nothing to do with that, but it's a great
I'm like,
show.
what the fuck are you talking about?
That guy's a great
It's
actor.
a good show.
He's awesome as Shazam.
He is awesome as Shazam.
I want to download Super Spy stuff. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
That's a great show. I might have to rewatch the series.
He was pretty good in that Kurt Warner biopic or whatever.
I haven't seen that yet, but I got to watch it
It
because
was pretty good.
our one Spanish teacher was his brother-in-law.
Yep.
We won't say his name, but he definitely threw that out there. It's like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm like, why do you keep bringing it up then?
Como está? Me amo Kevin.
Yeah, I failed horribly.
That's all I really
I
remember.
was like, I don't need to know Spanish.
E2?
Crap, was I wrong? Dos veces, sir, por favor.
Yeah, there you go.
I basically know how to say, like, hello, my name. I don't speak Spanish. Do you speak English?
Yeah, I know. Like,
It's like, hola, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Josh. No hablo español. ¿Hablo inglés? No, oh, no puedo. No.
Yeah, I can't transition from English to Spanish. So yeah, I don't know what transition actually means because I don't know what we're transitioning to. I can't give you a definition for that one. Maybe we're just transitioning to, I don't know.
I think you're right.
Destruction.
They're transitioning. Well, I think the transition has to do because if you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, it has nothing to do with inflation reduction.
I mean,
it's the Green New Deal.
Here's what happened is, and this was funny, is they called it the Inflation Reduction Act. Then they called it the Climate Act. Then they went back to the Inflation Reduction Act. Then I don't know what they're calling it now. Maybe back to Climate Act, being inflation didn't reduce. So I don't know what they call it anymore.
Well, I don't.
The Gotcha Act.
Well, no,
Gotcha.
the law is called the Inflation Reduction Act.
I know,
so
but
they
were calling it the climate.
It's a
law
Green
or
New
something.
Deal. That's what it's a climate thing.
It's Green New Deal light, I think.
That's why I think it ties into that word transition because they're transitioning us into. I don't think this is really conspiratorial anymore because the World Economic Forum shit seems to be being implemented around the world, which is dumb, except for Italy. That lady's got some fire to her. It's like, oh, la familia.
Yeah, she does.
She's gonna shake shit up. She's like what the hell, the Step Brothers.
Is she far right, or is she right, or not far right, but just right?
Apparently she's a fascist. So yeah, she's conservative.
Ow.
Everyone's calling her a fascist, which means she loves country, God, and family.
Man, guns.
And guns. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe she doesn't like guns, but she likes country, God, and family.
She's like, I don't know. I mean, it sounds stupid to say she's far right if you believe in your country, God, and family.
I know.
But that's her staple. That's what she ran on. And that's what so Italy's good.
Well, look what kind of, Italy wasn't the crapper for COVID, you know? I mean,
they got hit hard too.
They were like the hardest hit country until.
They're the oldest. I think they're the oldest country, like people wise, on the planet.
But they were locked down for goddamn. Yeah. I think people got tired of that shit.
Well, and I think that election scared a lot of people.
I'm
a
sure
lot of people in charge.
Oh yeah.
But no, I think that's what they're transitioning because I guarantee you the talking heads at the top want to get rid of the like paper money. They want everything digital. And that's what's so jacked up when I think we brought it up in the last have we brought it up on the show about how it used to be like 54% of the world's wealth it wasn't America, but it was in the middle class, and now 98% of the world's wealth is like contained less than 1% of the population.
Yes.
So that's what they want. They want to get it to where they control everything, control the money and stuff like that. So
wouldn't they?
And and apparently we are 100,000% in a recession now. There was something that came out on the GDP growth that says there's no denying anymore. We are in a recession. If you're dumb enough to believe we haven't been for the
right?
last, what is it, 9 months?
Yeah. Like you don't know when you're in a recession till you are. And I think we've been technically by the old standard of two quarters of uh, negative GDP or like negative growth, um, then you're in a recession. And
Well,
it's
there's
been
something
like,
that just came out today about that. It's like, nope, we're in a recession. And there's a lot of people, even the Fed is worried that it's going to be worse than just a recession. It's
yeah,
like, well,
they might
yeah.
go down. They might go to a depression here,
Well, these dumbasses are going to think they can spend their way out of it.
and they're
And
going
they
to keep
need to
spending
stop
money,
spending
and they're
money.
not going to stop spending money. He's
Send
trying.
another 12 billion over to Ukraine.
This was the main argument that, and it's illegal for the president to hand out, $500 billion, but this is the main reason. This was the second reason for the 6 states to sue Biden because he's just spending money during recession that
Well,
he
you can't
shouldn't
spend
be.
it anyway.
Yeah,
The president doesn't control the purse, period.
no,
The worthless Congress does. That
yes.
includes both sides.
Oh
Both
yeah, no,
sides.
I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, fucking.
I
I'm
can't
tired of all
stand
this
anyone
spending.
in Washington. Even the people that I kind of like, I don't like them. I don't
Like I
like anybody
said,
in Washington.
spending on the military and some social programs, and that's it.
Social programs designed to get people up back on their feet,
Yes,
not to
not
spoon
social
feed them.
programs that'll just keep giving you money, not doing anything. Unless you're
Yes.
disabled for, like you're quadriplegic, then you should get it.
And well, and with the things going and how we were talking about how people on the right are the semi-fascists, it seems like there's a lot of talk on the left about common sense gun control. Kevin, what does common sense gun control even mean?
Nothing. It's dumb.
It
Uh,
is dumb.
it's there's no the only common sense gun control is for you to go shooting and learn how to use your weapon. That'd be common sense gun control. Anything else they say is common sense gun control is just banning of certain things for guns or certain guns. It's not common sense to ban an AR-15. Most people are killed by handguns and gun violence.
I think it's
Um,
2%, something
I
like
think
that.
more people are killed with knives and getting stabbed than are killed by AR-15s. Now I don't know that for a fact, so I might be wrong on
No, I'm
that.
pretty sure it's true. I think more people are killed with knives and fists
Yeah, than
than with
AR-15s.
AR-15.
So there is no common sense gun control. If the only common sense gun controller should be is no gun control. So that's my take on it. Because
Yeah, but it's just like
I
the
don't remember anything in the Second Amendment saying that, it's common
well, and
sense
you hear these
wise.
people they come out and they'll actually start talking about guns, and you can just tell they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. There's some, and I think it was a congressman or senator from Alabama, maybe. I think the dude talking on the Democrat side might have been from California, but he's like saying, "Well, once you put the brace on the AR-15 and you strap it around your arm, that turns it into a bump stock." It's like, for one thing, if you're using an AR-15 pistol and you have that thing braced to your forearm, which is what it's for, I don't think it would be physically possible to bump fire
I think
that
that's what
rifle.
the Republican one rebuttal with, like, right? He's like,
Yeah, but
you're
like he's just like,
basically, he's like, you're a moron.
yeah, I mean, you can. That's what, like, you can bump fire any gun. You take a board, stick a nail through it, and you stick the nail in the trigger guard. And that'll bump fire it. Like, the whole bump stock was just like meant to make that easier, which is stupid. You should still be able. I think you should be able to own machine guns. I mean, I think the NFA is unconstitutional, and the way things are going, especially with the way the ATF is like constantly overreaching, especially now with, I think, in November or December, they're coming out with this new bullshit form where if you own a AR-15 pistol or like a what do they call that? Well, carbine pistol. So it could be like a 9 millimeter all the way up to 5.56 or 300 blackout or whatever. Um, you have to go through this form, and if you get 4 points, it's not a pistol. It's a SBR, and you either have to turn it over to authorities, destroy it, and get proof that you destroyed it, or register it as a short barrel rifle and pay your $200 tax stamp.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and there was one company that went like there was like this YouTube channel I was watching because I was watching on it. Not that I own any pistols like that because who wants the headache? Uh, but like they had this gun that basically, if an AR-15 pistol that would pass would be something with iron sights, and it just has like. Have you ever seen those AR-15 pistols that have like the foam, the buffer tube just has a foam pad on it?
I don't know if I have or not.
It's just like you have the buffer tube, and then it just has like a almost like something like this on the end of it.
Really?
But that was like it goes the length of pole. If your brace is meant to be shouldered, uh, how what kind of optic you have on it, because they're saying, well, if it has this, and this, it's meant to be shot two handed. You should, unless it's like an absolute emergency. I don't care what gun you shoot, you're shooting with both hands. I shoot my freaking Raven P25
Yes.
two handed.
Yes.
Everybody shoots every freaking gun two handed.
Yes.
Because you can't hit shit one handed.
If you want to be accurate, yes, you shoot two handed. I mean, that's how you're supposed to be taught to shoot. It's supposed to be two handed. There's no way that you can shoot one handed and be accurate. It's just impossible.
No, and there are handguns that are designed so when you make your grip, like your thumb and everything, there'll be a groove on the gun, like for your gun. It's meant to be shot. All guns are meant to be shot with two hands. It gives you more control.
Why I like the longer on the pistols, the longer grip.
Well, and then you can't have like a vertical foregrip, and like if it's a hand stop or blah blah blah. So yeah, common sense gun. Well, and it doesn't work. Like this, like, oh, we just gotta get rid of guns. You're not gonna get rid of all guns. And there's one guy, I think it's Palmetto State Arms, one of the owners, was like, our goal is to make quality guns at an affordable price to try to get as many people in the United States to own a gun. Because at a certain point, and I think we're already there, there's one guy who was saying there's no way in hell that they'd ever be able to get rid of. You're not gonna be able to get rid of guns. There's too fucking many of them.
Yeah,
and there's no way to enforce it unless you can get it. Find a bunch of people that hate the Constitution and are willing to go door to door to try to take people. You're gonna run into people that are gonna be like, nope.
The best way they can do it from now on, I mean, if they really want to do it, was just to, grandfather everybody in who bought the gun before and shut down gun purchases, period.
Yeah, which I don't think they could do. So
I don't think they can
if they did that,
the American people will allow it.
Well, and if they did that, that was the same thing when Biden was going after, I think it was Winchester. It was one of the major ammo suppliers to the United States military, and they were basically telling them, you can't, they were going to try to do something to where they couldn't sell ammo to the general public. And they're like, we can't do that. Like, the reason why they sell, because like, I don't know if you know how ammo works, but like when they make a batch of ammo, it goes federal, state, local, and then private security. And then at the very bottom, what's left, that's for individuals. So it goes to all those. But the civilian market is what keeps everything going. So during wartime, obviously we're not going to be able to get ammo, but they're already tooled up for it. And they said, if you take this away, we're not going to be ready if we ever needed to make mass amounts of ammo, because they're already making mass amounts of ammo. Basically, it's just the ammo they make for the civilian market gets shifted to military use during war.
Yeah, basically what we're doing right now, I mean, basically what they're doing is they're overproduction. Then whatever their overflow is goes to the general public.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, that's why we generally get a pretty good deal on it. But yeah, so and everyone's like, you look at Chicago and blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that's why the only way that you could, and you're never going to be able to stop it. I mean, it's like, I watched this show on ID that was kind of jacked up. These guys put a bomb around this guy's neck and sent him into a bank.
Oh, I saw that one.
Yeah, and I think the cane he was using was a homemade shotgun.
Yeah.
And I watched an interesting video, and like they're
Is
always
that the
saying
one where he
like,
blew up?
yeah, like they couldn't get like I don't know if they didn't believe him or what, but the guy I think some say he wasn't part of it, that he was kidnapped, and everyone's like the reason he was so cool with it because he was part of the plan. But they're like, I'm gonna die, gotta get this off, and the bomb squad couldn't get there in time, and
Yes, blew up. Yeah, I saw that. There's some Netflix documentary about it. I saw that. It was pretty.
yeah, that was a weird story. But like you can't get rid of like, but in that cane he had was a homemade 12 gauge,
Mm-hmm.
so you're not gonna be able to get rid of guns. And to this day, the largest
Shit, in 3D print one if you
mass.
want.
Well, yeah, well, you can do that now because if you notice that there was another major win, woo, for America with ghost guns.
Yes.
Can't ban ghost guns.
Yep. Saw that.
And I was thinking if I ever had the money, I want to buy. There's an actual CNC machine you can buy, and you can buy billets of aluminum, and you can actually cut out your own AR-15 loaders or Glock or
I
whatever.
wonder how many like gun lawsuits or gun. I don't know what you want to call them, trials, or on their way to the Supreme Court or heading that way.
I think, well, there's always been a lot, but I think ever since the New York decision, there's been more filed. It's like I want to get a suppressor for my AR-15, so protect my hearing when I'm in the range, and it also doesn't like
See
if
that
you're at
New
a
York.
range with a bunch of people, it's nice to have a suppressor.
See, New York doesn't now. Their new law is they have to check 6 months of
Yeah, that's not legal.
social media or whatever
Yeah,
to
that's
make sure.
none of
But
that
they
shit's
didn't give
legal.
a description of what their red flags are to deny
Are
you.
you a Republican? Trump supporter? Have you ever been to a
Yeah.
Trump event? Well, not only you not get a gun, you're going to jail.
Yeah, so
Federal, baby.
Obviously, you're probably a Republican if you want a gun.
Well, no, I know some pretty far left
I
people who love guns, but
I do too, actually.
that's what brings America together. Firearms, baby.
Well,
But no, they Texas passed a law because the NFA and it's federal, so it's interstate commerce. So Texas passed a law saying "Made in Texas stays in Texas," to where as long as the suppressor you want was manufactured in Texas, and I think it has to be sourced in Texas, you don't need to get the tax stamp or go through all the bullshit. And the NFA or the ATF was like, no, you can't do that. So that's going through now, and they're thinking that case will actually get suppressors thrown off the NFA list because the only thing that can be on the NFA list or what it governs is firearms.
yes, that's
So I'm not sure why the hell suppressors are even on it to begin with.
It's like taking off flashlights.
Yeah, and everyone thinks
It's
like,
an attachment. It's not.
well, and they're
suppressor-
going off of movies. There is no like you'd have to get a can like this fucking long on a 22 to where it's like,
And usually, they only work for like one or like they don't work indefinitely. They only work for a certain amount of time.
yeah, if you get good ones, if you get the 409 stainless steel or something or titanium, they last a long time. But you still need to wear There are suppressors you can get. They're not silencers; they're suppressors. But the patent was a silencer. There are some you can get where you don't need hearing protection, but even like the best, like 9mm,
You can still hear it.
Well, the 9mm, the best 9mm suppressor you can get, still shooting subsonics is still like 135 decibels.
Well, I guarantee that you're not going to be able, like, even if you do, there's not going to be some spy coming in being able to shoot one dude while his wife's in bed and she doesn't stir at all.
Well, it's like, it's
like loud enough to where you're going to hear it.
Have you seen the last John Wick movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only way you can get a gun that quiet is if you're shooting a 22. They're like,
yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Then
because you're never going to be able to silence the action of the gun.
No.
So, but I don't know. They're pushing back on a lot of things. So I think there's going to be a lot of things changing on that.
Josh is yet again absent for exit and the next intro video. So he is having technical difficulties with his internet. So just want to let you know that I'm Kevin. He who must not be named, Josh. And we were the lost art of common sense. Come sense! Come sense!